Hello, I am Devani Patil, Assistant Professor in Arihant College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Camp Pune. Today we will discuss about the introduction to project management. We know about the software engineering, but in the software engineering we studied about the what are the basic steps to develop a software. In this video, we will discuss about the what is exactly the project or how we have to implement the steps of software engineering or some features or some tricks of software engineering in software project management. Before going to the project management or before going to the introduction of project management, we will discuss what is a project. In this diagram, it shows a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to produce a unique product or service. In these two circles, one circle is a temporary and one circle is a unique. In the temporary, it shows definitive beginning and end. That is, the a project is a definitive. It starts and it having a end. But again, it should be a unique. That project should not common. Whatever available in the market, that is a one product available in the market, that product is a unique. And whenever the same product you want to launch, you have to again add some specifications in that product and you have to say that this is a unique now. So in the unique, you have to add something new into the old, undertaking unfamiliar ground. That is, you are not familiar with the process, but you are doing some R&D here and you are developing a new innovation, and that is a project. Whenever we are combining these two, that is the temporary endeavor and uniqueness of a product, then you are creating a project or you are developing a project. So, a project is a series of tasks that needs to be completed in order to reach a specific outcome. That is a outcome or the target is set here. You have to reach that specific outcome with some completed manner. That is, you have to follow some steps. Suppose you are starting with step 1, still you are not completing step 1, you can't directly jump towards the step 2 or 3. So it is completed in order to reach a specific outcome. A project can also be defined as a set of inputs and outputs required to achieve a particular goal. That is a set of inputs and outputs. Some inputs you are giving and you are checking for the outputs. Is the outputs is not reaching to your particular requirement, again you are making changes in the development, and that is nothing but a project. That is a defined as a set of inputs and output to achieve a particular goal. If your requirement is not matching with the result, you are again doing work on that particular development. Projects can range from simple to complex and can be managed by one person or 100. Projects are simple also, projects are complicated also. So, according to the area, what area or how much area you are covering in your project, according to that the range of project is decided. If the project range is limited for that a particular region, then the project will be simple. But you are covering a huge area in your development, then your project will be a complicated project. Project is handled by one person or hundred of people. If the project is complicated, not only one person will satisfactorily work on that project. So there should be a team of many people have to work on that project. But some small type of project are handled by one person only. A project, any undertaking carried out individually or collaboratively and possibly involving research or design that is carefully planned. We can say that whatever the step by step processes we are or steps we are following in the project, that is any undertaking, somebody is allowing you to develop a project carried out individually, you are only working on that particular project, or collaboratively, that is a team of many people working on that project, and possibly involving research or design that is carefully planned. Suppose a team of 50 people or 60 people is working on a project. Not all peoples are working on the same module. They are performing different tasks, or they are playing different role in the development of the project. A project is an activity to create something unique. Whenever your project will be completed, you are creating something new that is not available in the market. But whatever the processes you are following, or whatever steps you are following for this type of completion of the project, that all processes are designed carefully and planned carefully to avoid the risks. Now we are well familiar with the project. Now how to manage these projects, that is what is a project management. Project management then is the application of knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirement. So, project management is a application of knowledge, skills, tools and techniques. What type of skills you have, which tools you know, and which type of techniques you are know, those all tricks and techniques you are using in your project to meet your requirements. Project management is the practice of leading the work of a team to achieve goals and meet success criteria at a specified time. As a project management, in the project management, time is a very important constraint. We will discuss later again about the time, but time is very important because for a particular task you have given a specified time, so you have to complete your task in that specified time only, because on your works there are some people's work is dependent, so still you will not complete with your task, the next person will not perform his task. Project management has final deliverables that are constrained to a finite time scale and budget, that is the still project management gives you some final delivers, that is some final output, but it is a constrained to finite time scale and budget. It doesn't mean that on one project you can work for a long time. You have given, you are bonded some time scale and you have to complete your work in that time scale only, and whenever you are following a time scale, automatically your budget will be followed. But you are, suppose you are disturbing the time scale, automatically your budget will be disturbed. Project phases and project life cycle. Project management, and whenever we are going for the project phases are very important. Project phases are mainly five: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. These are the main five phases of a project. In the initialization phase, all the requirement analysis and all the requirement gathering is happened. In the second phase, that is the planning. If you know all the requirements of the client, if you know what is a time scale, if you know what is a budget, according to that you have to give a plan. That plan should be proper, that it follows the time and budget. Third is executing. You got some requirements, you are planned to complete those requirements. Now, exactly your work is started here in execution. You have to execute your plan, whatever you roughly designed in the planning phase. This rough plan now you have to use it as a true plan and work according to that plan, and execution of your project will be start here. In the execution phase, you are working mostly on input and output. Output is nothing but the requirement you got in initiating phase, and you have to follow or you have to complete those requirements in execution. Next one is the monitoring and controlling. Whatever the project done or whatever the development done from you, you have to monitor that, and still if there are some errors you got in the execution, you have to control those errors at a particular time. If you will ignore those errors right now, it may be a huge risk for the future. If all these phases are successfully completed, now the last phase is closing of your project. If all the four phases are completed, you can close your project. Project management knowledge draws on 10 areas. We are saying that project management is a skills, knowledge, then how you can find out or how you can restrict your knowledge. So these are the main 10 areas. Through this, you can handle your project with a very good manner. First, integration, scope, time, cost, quality, procurement, human resources, communications, risk management, stakeholder management. These are the main 10 areas or knowledge draws or these are the main 10 knowledge areas for the project management. If you will follow these areas in a well format, then your work will be very easy. So the first is integration. Developing a project management plan, that is integration. When you get the requirements from the client, you make a plan that is how many people are available in your team. So suppose there are 10 people are available in your team, you have to integrate that project into small parts and give each and every part to each and every person. So that person will complete that particular part in a limited time period. Next one is the scope. Defining and managing scope, creating a work breakdown structure and requirements gathering. There should be a very huge scope in your project, but the client giving you some restrictions. The client scope is only 60 or 70%, then you have to try to reach at the client's scope. So, according to that, you have to create your work background structure and your requirement gathering. You have to complete through this work background structure. So, if the scope is very high, but client requires only this type of course, the scope that is only 60 or 70%, you have to just fulfill the client requirement. Third one is the time. Planning, defining and developing schedules, activities, estimating resources and activity duration. For each and every scope, there should be a plan, that is, each and every task should be completed in a given time period. And for that particularly, you have to plan for the time duration. In that plan, you have to plan for each and every activity, define and developing a schedule, that is the for GUI you are giving 1 week, then that work should be completed in 1 week only. So according to that, if you are following the time duration or the time management, you can complete your work in given period of time with a proper budget. Fourth one is the cost. Planning and estimating cost and determining budget. Suppose you are not following the time management, your cost or your budget will be completely collapsed. Because suppose time duration given to you is 1 year, but 1 year will be extended to 1 year 2 months. But if it is extended into 2 years, automatically time management will be completely disturbed and cost management will be disturbed, because you are not providing a final product to the client in given time period. So client again didn't give you the extra cost for that work. Whenever we are taking care of scope, time, and cost, same time we have to keep one eye on quality also. Planning and identifying quality requirement. Whatever you are giving to the client, if the client's requirement are very less, you have to insist your client about the proper requirements. That is, you can develop that particular software at up to the mark where the client's mostly or 40 to 50% work will be done. So whatever you are delivering to your client, that should be a quality material. Next one is the procurement. Take action on securing necessary procurements. What type of procurements are required for your project management? That is again very important part. For the development, what are the procurements requirement? What are the procurements? There may be some computers, laptops, printers, or any type of office material are undergoing into this procurement management. For the proper development, you need human resources. That is, you need resources, and those resources are again managed in the project management. Planning and identifying human resource and needs. Suppose you are developing a project which having on a very latest technology, but the members from your team are not well familiar with that new technology. It means that you have to hire a new people. So according to the requirement, you have to allot a resources for your organization. Next one is the communication. Planning communication. Communication is a very important part in the project management. There should be always a discussion about the project in meetings or any type of gatherings. So, if the communication happens, what will be the risk arises in the future about your development, that you will get very easily. So, communications are important. Next is the risk management. Planning for and identifying potential risks, performing qualitative and quantitative risk analysis, and planning risk mitigation strategies. Risks are not only about the time, risks are not only about your budget, but risks are about the performing qualitative and quantitative analysis. Whatever the quality you are providing right now to the client, that quality is not good, then you may be in a risk in the future. So, whatever you are performing right now, think about the risk, in what type of risk will arises in the future about that work. Stakeholder management. Controlling stakeholder engagements. That is the control your stakeholders. Stakeholders are not only your clients, but the people, so the employees or the resources working in your organization. Now the triple constraint in project management is very important term. If you are planning for something, scope for that particular schedule is decided and cost is again decided. So, you have to create a balance between these three, that is the scope, schedule, and cost. And by combining these three, you have to maintain a quality in your project also. So, though if you are disturbing schedule, automatically it will disturb scope, automatically it will disturb cost, and you will not create a quality product. Suppose you are disturbing the cost, automatically it will disturb schedule and scope. Again, whatever the product you are creating, that will not be a quality product. So you have to keep in mind that whenever you are thinking about the schedule, scope, and cost, quality is the soul of your project management. For the project management, important term is the organizational structure. In the organizational structure of the project management, you have to follow a hierarchy. In this simple organizational structure, executive is at the top of the organization and the staff is at the end of the or the bottom of the organization. But staff is a very important part of this organizational structure. Only for the decision making or to take any type of the decision, staff have to go from downward to upward. That is, staff have to take first ask about the to the project manager. Then project manager can't handle that particular situation. He have to ask about the executive. In the organizational structure, each and every hierarchy having their own rights and they can use their rights up to a certain limit. There should be a proper coordination in this organizational structure. There should a proper coordination between staff and project manager and executive. If this coordination is a good, whatever the message staff want to give to the higher management, it will be easily passed with the help of project manager and vice versa. To manage a project manager is a very important person. So project manager handle all over the project and he is managing your project. So the qualities of project manager are: a good project manager must be a leader, a communicator, a decision maker, a negotiator, a influencer, and a motivator. If all these qualities having a one person, then that person is a very good project manager. So, what qualities a good project manager have to carry? A project manager's ability to communicate with and influence a variety of stakeholders is a paramount to project success. So he or she have to maintain a proper relation with his or her stakeholders. The success or failure of a project doesn't fall on the shoulders of one person. A project leader's effectiveness is strongly impacted by the contributions of others on his or her team. So if mistakes are happened from the team, the project manager have to handle it smoothly. If the success got the team, then again project manager give credit to his team. Project managers who can offer higher level strategic leadership skills, not just technical management skill. He have to provide significant advantages for organization of all sizes. Means project manager should not be only good in technical management skill, but he must have some leadership qualities. Not everything on a project will go as planned. Mistakes are to be expected, but it's important to always accept when you are wrong and to learn from your mistake. If mistakes are happen from your staff, you have to motivate them that is these type of mistakes should not happen in the future. You have to take care of all these things. Next is the work breakdown structure. As the project management or the development of the project is not handled by the only one person, it is a teamwork. So, how this work is distributed equally to each and every resource of the organization. Breaking work into smaller tasks is a common productivity technique used to make the work more manageable and approachable. For projects, the work breakdown structure is the tool that utilizes this technique and is one of the most important project management documents. It single-handled integrates scope, cost, and schedule baseline, ensuring that project plans are alignment. If you are achieving schedule, scope, and cost, then the work breakdown structure is properly managed. The work breakdown structure as a deliverable-oriented hierarchical decomposition of the work to be executed by the project team. So, the whole project is then divided into the multiple small pieces and given it to the project team. Then that is called as a work breakdown structure. A work breakdown structure is a key project deliverable that organizes the team's work into manageable sections. At the time of work breakdown structure, you have to assign a proper work to a proper person. If the person having a very good expertise in a database, you have to give him a work related to database. So that person can give his best in that particular area or in that particular task. There are two types of the work breakdown structure: deliverable based work breakdown structure and phase based work breakdown structure. A deliverable based work breakdown structure clearly demonstrates the relationship between the project deliverables, that is, the products, services, or results, and scope, that is, the work to be executed. And in the phase-based, a phase-based work breakdown structure requires work associated with multiple elements be divided into the work unique to each level one element. The most common and preferred approach is the deliverable based approach. That is the first type is mostly used. Here I am showing one simple example of work breakdown structure. We are using what are the phases of the project development, that is the initiating, planning, execution, control and closure. So how this is divided? Initiating is divided again into the four parts. Planning is again divided, execution is also divided, control is divided, closure is divided, and only the project manager is commonly working in all these phases. Otherwise, for each and every phase, the work breakdown structure is distributed into many peoples, but all these peoples having a one team which is handled by the project manager. So for each and every phase there are different peoples working in a project management team. Thank you.